So could you please welcome Cristiano to the stage, please? Oh. Cristiano, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here so early on a Sunday morning. I see there's a lovely little clip that we saw at the beginning from El Divo. We want to talk a little bit about El Divo, but maybe we could start with where you were in your career before you edited that film.
First, I apologize in advance for my poor English. It's important to say it. I think a normal career. I was first. I had an academic preparation because I was a student of cinema at the university. So I was prepared. First of all, in history of cinema and critics, and before I started my career, which started really thanks to a school, which is the Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia, and my teacher is sitting there. I wrote something, some small newspapers about critics and history of cinemas, stuff like that. Then I moved to this school, and after finishing it, I started working as a young assistant editor, mostly, and doing some shorts and documentaries as an editor. Talking about the experience with Paolo Sorrentino, I was witness of his first movie, which is called One Man Plus. I don't know the translation in One Man. Okay, l'uomo in più. And I was an assistant editor, a very weird assistant editor in a way, because I was pretty much involved in some creative choices. It was my approach to and they allow me to do this. So I was making my job as an assistant editor, and at the same time I started to collaborate in editing starting from the second movie, which is called The Consequences of Love, now I know, and Family Friend. In Family Friend I started editing. I wasn't an assistant anymore, and I worked as doing almost 25-30 minutes of the movie. Then I was promoted on the field in El Divo. So it was because the editor at the time was busy in another project. I started with Paolo, and then I continued to work with him till now. Okay. I don't know tomorrow, but till now, yes.
So when did you first get involved with El Divo? When did you get it? Were you involved very early on? Did you read the script before they started to shoot?
Yeah. Usually when we started, in every project I was involved in, we started talking with the director in an approach that I like it very much, but I don't know if it works really, which is trying to evocate something which is not deeply in a movie language.
Okay.
I make an example. It's like you have a project, you read the project, you feel some emotion about the project, some suggestion about the project, and you evoke a painting, and you say this movie could be close to Guernica, which works in a very deeply conscious way. I don't know if it works really when you start editing, but that is the approach. So we evocate a lot, talking about El Divo, of course. When I read the script, I noticed that there was something very close to a cinematic approach, close to some Martin Scorsese movies. And I believe that in the movie there's something which is influenced by that kind of filmmaking and editing as well.
I also, when I watched the film, I thought it felt quite like an opera. I thought it felt very operatic, very high, like very moments of high drama. very, very stylish films. Can you tell a little bit about that? Was that something that you were aware of when you were thinking of, at least when you were cutting?
There's something I must say before, because the operation was this. Andreotti, which is a politician he was in charge for decades. I mean, 48 to the 80 to 2000.
Okay.
And it was the example of the Christian Democrats, something that in our country is very, very important, because they run the country, and at the same time he was covered by a lot of shadows. Many terrible things happen in this country. I don't know if there are some Americans here, but in a way it's like in the collective imaginary of an American people who killed JFK. It is an answer, is a question that there's no answer, and maybe it will not have it for forever.
Yeah.
So he was accused of many things, and he was also giudicato, come si dice? Judge about some relationships with the mafia. I'm talking about the case from the late 60s to all the 70s, and till 85, something like that. But we don't know anything. I mean, in this country, a bomb exploded in a railway station. We didn't know. We still don't know what happened. Mafia make a judge, a very important judge, kill an important judge, making explode a railway, and we don't know the relationship about between these people. So, but one on the very, very deep characteristic of this person, it was like a still person, always in a posture, always in very, very calm. So it's like in chemistry, you're a chemical, you want to know the truth about 2 elements or 3 elements, you put in a bottle. The only way to try to understand what this man was hiding, I mean, in the reality of the movie, is shaking as fast as you can this bottle and try to understand what is the result. This is why he made a very, very quick and cinematic rock opera on the most still person on the planet for us. So it was a strange operation, because, but in a way I think it was a good way of approach. And at the time, we're talking about a movie that it was made in 2008. It was very, very weird and shocking at the same time.
Yeah. So that opera feel, was that was something that was in the script, or was that something that you were kind of just
in a way, yes,
introducing? In
a way, yes, but not as the movie is now.
Yeah.
We made a lot of experiments.
So tell us about that, because there's a lot of things in this, a lot of little devices in this film that are very interesting. You know, like the way you introduce the characters, the cabinet,
Yeah, I mean, the intro, the beginning of the movie, it was mainly like it was written. The song, for example, was written in the script. We just slowed down and isolated the beats of this song, and then restart the song. We did a very simple approach in that scene. But in music, for example, we operate with a lot of freedom. There's many sequences in the movie that we have 2 musics edited together. A symphony of Sibelius mixed with a track of an electronic group called the Matmos and Lippica Morgenstern. We take all the freedom possible. Maybe I think a very, very I don't know, a musician will be shocked about this way of approach. But if it works, in my opinion, it's okay.
Well, this is
we have no limits to do this. And watching the movie, I haven't watched the movie because I had a lot of problems, in these days.
You've already seen it, though. You've already seen it.
I think that it was a good approach. I was thinking about some Scorsese movies, like Goodfellas or something like that. There are many sequences that starts from the first frame with a rock song, edited not from the beginning, but in the middle. And the scene stops and starts another sequences with another song, completely different, edited from the middle. And many sequences of Scorsese are that in Casino, for example, in Goodfellas. And if you go into school, they don't teach you to edit the music like that. But incredibly, that it works in those movies. So taking so much freedom, it's very seducing. At the same time, it could be even very good for a movie.
And that freedom in the edit suite, are you working with the director all the time in experimenting, or is he letting you experiment and then
we start together to make to start an idea. Then I work alone. There are some sequences. Now it's different. Now when I work with him, I edit all the movie in the assemble edit. From the beginning, from the second days of shooting. At the time, it was different. We had more time to think about a movie, and time is very useful to a movie. More time you have, the best the movie is going to be, in my opinion. And there are some sequences that I have to do it myself, because I had an idea. I wasn't able to describe the idea because it was something that you can't describe. You have something in your mind, and maybe after doing it, you can describe it. You can find the words. You had when you had the idea. So I asked him to go away and come back in 3 hours, and then we make some little changes, but it worked.
So I'm curious about how you like to work yourself in a general sense. Do you like to do an edit yourself all the way through very quickly, or do you like to take time over considering every shot before you start to cut?
No, I had to see many times the footage.
Okay.
Then I work in Avid, maybe even you. I make a lot of notes using markers and using a notebook. And it's like you are imagining a structure on the paper. So I thought a lot. I think a lot before starting. I mean, the phase that when I see the footage is very long, and very boring in a way, and the phase when I edit is very quick. Because you are just editing in your mind. Sometimes it works, sometimes no. But that is how I approach the footage. Seeing a lot.
And in this film, in Il Divo in particular, what were the challenges that you faced in terms of your cutting when you were there difficulties? Were there parts that you found difficult to cut together?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
I remember that it was a very happy moment because we were not afraid of anything. It's like you had the freedom to edit, to experiment something, and it was very an happy moment. Very c'è una parola in italiano. Fertile. Uguale. A fertile moment, and it was for us always funny. Always interesting, and we didn't spend so much time editing the movie. We were very quick because it was maybe someone already seen the movie, they don't like it, but it was a sort of mysterious situation that we called it at the time a state of grace.
Okay.
It's like the movie started to edit itself.
Oh, okay.
It's very strange to explain it.
Yeah.
We didn't make so many changes after the first.
Oh, wow, okay.
We cut off some scenes,
Yeah.
but we didn't change really.
Yeah.
But we made some screen, and the audience was very interested, and they like it. So
Oh, okay. So it
that movie was easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it was easy. Okay.
That
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, that movie.
The last one, which is
Yeah, yeah.
in,
Let's
in
just say
cinema
not
right
all
now,
films are easy. Just for people who,
it wasn't easy at all.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the scene that we just saw at the beginning there, because there's some very interesting choices in that scene of it's very intense. Can you tell us a little bit about cutting that together? What do you remember of that?
Yeah, that scene is. I'm talking about an ambition. I'm not talking about that was so good.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
As the main character was all the time in the movie, the main character is a mystery. You don't know if he did that things, if he doesn't do that things, or maybe. I believe that Italians, as Pasolini said, I know who are the guilty, and I think that in the history of this country, we know that Christian Democrats are behind some things, and of course it's in oniric. No, it's a dreamy scene. So we approach the main character with traveling and some really quick,
very hard cuts.
Hard cuts.
Yeah.
So it's in a way is not edited so well, I know, but we wanted this. It's like what the ambition was to do a sort of cubist portrait of the main character. The cubism has this idea of many simultaneous point of view.
Yeah.
And it's like be a way of far from him and close to him and far away. It's like studying from every angle this man to understand if there's something there.
Yeah.
I did that we must find out. So it was a very you can see the editing so much, maybe too much, but it's like it's the same things it's the same metaphor I did for the chemical. It's like trying to understand from every angle.
Yeah.
What is hidden in there?
Yeah. So it's
that was the metaphor, the ambition of that approach in cutting that scene.
And did that take a while for you to get right? Because it's some of those cuts. I mean, I would disagree when you say it's maybe not cut well.
No.
I think it's very
obviously in the normal grammatical.
But I would.
You don't do this. You don't do this. But you have to do this just to shaking even the psychology of the viewer.
Yeah. Well,
and yourself, because you're the first viewer, and you try to understand. It's like you have so many angles, so many point of view on the same subject.
Yeah.
And you can choose to make in a one shot, or you can choose to shake in the bottle, and try to understand what is it, and then in there, and the kind of approach, in my opinion and my ambition at the time, worked. I don't know if now I will do the same thing. I don't know. Maybe yes.
Yeah. Well, no, because I think it's. I mean, I understand what you mean about the grammar, but I think in this instance, if you know why you are changing the grammar, it makes it okay. It's not that it's a good.
There's nothing new talking about grammar because we saw the before the revolution. Of course, there's nothing new. But maybe at the time, I believe that I think in all Europe we had the Volkswagen and some approaches that are very free, talking about language. Even in a country a lot. I mean, Bertolucci and before the revolution and many other directors. in a way, from the late 80s till now, is like the grammar has become more and more easy, and I'm not saying we are going back to the 50s, but in a way now it's difficult to see something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes happen, sometimes no. At the time they were thinking about a sort of revolutionary way to approach a language, so a revolutionary way to approach thinking in politics, everything. And I have a nostalgia of that that moment. Of course, even the audience is changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know now what is going to happen.
Yeah. There's a scene that happens early in the film that it's almost the opposite of the scene we saw. It's the scene where a journalist is talking to Andreotti, but it's a very long scene of just the journalist talking. It's just a scene. I think. Tell me about that, because I think the convention would be to cut to Andreotti to see him.
Yeah, we're talking about a long shot when there's I believe we were talking about that.
Yes, it's an interview almost with the journalist, where the journalist is detailing to him all these things.
There's a close-up on a journalist asking questions and saying to Andreotti all the things he was charged for. And it's about 4-5 minutes of this close-up. Then there's a pan, and we go back to the close-up of Andreotti.
Yeah.
The greatness of the director.
Yeah.
There's nothing, of course, it's very cinematic, it's very quick. Then that moment as something which is very slow and very, very, it takes time to explain what he wants to explain.
Yeah.
But there is only Paolo. Imagine that scene. I did the wrong choice not to cut inside that scene and make some jumps from Andreotti to him. It was so beautiful like that. Then you don't have to touch anything. Because
I think it's a very brave decision to have a character who is not your main character on the screen for 3 or 4 minutes.
I don't know if you know this director, which is called Cristian Mungiu, a Romanian. For example, in his own style, there's something very, very interesting. It's all. I'm talking about the first movies he did. There's always a scene, and he starts. And you see all the characters. Then he moves to the close-up of one character, while the scene is a dialogue scene, and the character he chooses to focus in. Maybe in that scene is the character that doesn't talk so much.
Yeah,
it's always out of frame, and it works.
Yeah.
So and it's very, very beautiful. So. That is the talent of a director that chooses this approach. So I'm not against the movies that are cinematic or a lot of cuts, or movies that choose, for example, the first Darden movies that were only long shots one after the other. Is the emotion that he has. It's meaningful. I mean,
it's interesting actually, because I have one final question about emotion, because your main character, your main actor, Andreotti, in this film shows very little emotion over the course of the whole apart from the scene we saw, which is one of the rare moments where he is very animated, but his face almost doesn't move for the whole film. That must have been a very difficult thing for you to try and find emotion in the cuts, in the shoot.
Difficult in a way. I mean, Tony Servillo is a great actor. So sometimes you can express something only moving a little bit. Eyebrow. What is this?
Oh, eyebrow. Yes.
Eyebrow.
Yeah.
So and as the main character was a mystery, something you have to study, something you have to watch it really quick, be so still. Even the expression, it was important for the movie. So it wasn't difficult at all. It was perfect because he doesn't have any emotion.
Yeah.
All the emotion the viewer is having in himself are what he thinks the emotion is under that statue.
Okay.
So is the viewer that start to build in his own head an emotion, and maybe for any different viewer is different.
Yeah.
But it's in 2000 movies, it's okay.
Yeah.
There are so many movies that now there's a movie I edited which is called Partenope, which is in the cinema, and half of the population hate it. Out of population love it, and but I'm happy in a way because it means that you have shaped something.
Yeah.
You have.
You've made a reaction.
There's a fracture in the expectations of the viewer, and when a movie did this, I think that it's important because movies in nowadays are becoming so very. Equal one on and the other. They're all now it's all focused on the history, on the narration, on the subject, and less on the style. There were an interesting interview on Louis Ferdinand Céline, and they asked him. What is your best? What is the writer you like the most? And he said, "It's not about which is the history. It's only about the style." I mean, because you can find many good stories in the street, but it's how you try to write this that is important to him. I don't want to be so extreme, but in a way, I think that movies has to catch a little bit more what they did before the revolution, and try to be more, in my opinion. Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I would like that the movies started to rethink about the language itself, and try to understand and had no fear of the viewer and the audiences because. Sometimes the audience is more intelligent than what you think. Yeah. So if you do the same dish, they get used to this dish, and even movies become less interesting, in my opinion. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm so sure about this, but in a way, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think that's our time is nearly up. We've been talking for quite a bit. So, Cristiano, thank you so much. Thank you.